Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. There must be a balance in the two types of attraction. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little deeper here because there's only two types of a real attraction. Yeah, people throw all this other stuff in there, but only really two types. The first type is obvious, is looks. Now, you don't have to look like supermodel of the world, but if you are in a relationship with someone, you have to like how they look, right? Regardless of whether anybody else like how they look, you know? Now, you get some people, they do want some supermodel or something. Okay, that's them. That's them. They'll probably be lonely unless they're in certain environments. But that's the obvious ones. You have to like how they look. But, if you're talking about a relationship, what's the core word of relationship? Relate. You have to connect on an emotional level, personality level, and all of that. In fact, that's when, if you break down any relationship, that's what it is. That's what it is. Even the no matter how you look at it. If you look at it from a sexual perspective, let's be real. When we're looking at somebody, we might be turned on by them sexually. Now, if they have a certain, attitude, receptiveness, or assertiveness, okay, that's still the personality. And if you really look at any successful relationship, it has to be a balance of them because, look, let's break it down. The appearance, the looks get you over there. I always jokingly say breastises or butt dunk, snatch waist, but the women, they looking at that man's chest, arms, body build, height, all of that stuff. His shoes. You get some men throwing in weight. Like I said, every person got something different. But if you talk to every single human being on the planet, they got some person that they consider ideal, some person or persons that they consider physically attractive. And let's be real, if we're just talking about the looks part, people got a range of looks, even women. Because I did a video a few weeks ago talking about a woman's prime type, which is her fantasy, but then her open type, which a guy, would have. And even with some guys who talk about mouthpiece, right? And that does play a part, but they still gotta like how you look. They still gotta like how you look. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how it's supposed to be. Like I said, two types of attraction. And indeed, when you get some guys talking about a mouthpiece, that's still the personality. The woman likes what you're saying for whatever reason. And she's also checking out the looks. But a smart man, he's also doing both. Notice I said a smart man, because you get some men, they just focus on the woman's looks and everything. That's stupid. Yeah, you want to focus on the looks, but she also need to be right. There's been plenty of men out here who've been burned. Let me say that again. Burned, used, played by some woman. Because she had a fat ass, though. She had a fat ass. She was cute or something like that. I mean, seriously. Now, a smart man, he'll look at her looks. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. But then he's also looking at her personality. What she talking about? Is she in cooperation to his operation? Is she an asset or a liability? Yeah, she cute, but she got an attitude. Like on the show that keeps on giving, the Balloon Pop show, there was a young lady on there, she had serious attitude. I was like, oh my goodness. Because you know how, they get on there and, the host will be like, asking each other if they find each other attractive and stuff, right? And if a guy, this one young lady got on there, and a guys were rejecting her because of her attitude. She was like, well, no, and here she is. But see, that was her attitude killing. She was physically all right, but her attitude was killing. She came out with an attitude. And see, a smart man ain't dealing with that shit. But then if you talk about any relationship, you got to have those two things. You got to have those two things. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. You know? Because let me talk about the looks thing. Say you get in a relationship with someone just based on the physical attraction. Like I said, you can get in trouble. You can get played. Many a man has been played on it. Right? And then I'm going to tell you something with looks. After a while, that gets old anyway. I mean, that's a relationship based on pure lust. And that's cool if you only want to deal with them for a few weeks or even a one-night stand. Okay, but if you're talking about a long-term relationship, nah, that's not going to work. Especially if you're a man who's trying to do something. You know? You trying to do something with your life. You trying to go forward or anything. And a woman too, but see, women understand that better, so I don't really have to tell them, but you get a lot of men, they well, she cute though. Okay, well, whatever. And you know, you get some men talking about some traditional thing, but even if you want that woman to be traditional, she still have to have the personality for it. And you got some women out there. And let me put it another way with the balance. Even though a lot of guys don't like that friend zone thing, let's be real. Many a man has met a woman who clicked with him personality-wise, who clicked with him, who was in cooperation with his operation. You know, real cool. Many a man has done that. You know, got some friends. In fact, any men who's like met some women like that, real cool with them, everything, just put a 1 in the comments. Men need that type of woman all the time, but you know what? Face is like, and you know, she might be, I don't know, 50 pounds overweight, or she don't have that good shape in her body or something like that. You probably be like, yeah, she cool. You could chop it up with her, talk with her. But shoot, your dick ain't like getting hard. Seriously, your dick ain't getting hard. Now, some people will say, well, yeah, you should mess with her. But look, I'm going to tell you what'll happen. It's not going to have a lot of passion. That relationship, that the sex ain't going to be there. You ain't going to want to tap it. You know? You ain't gonna really want that woman. Yeah, y'all can talk, but you know, that's about it. It ain't there. And then when you have a situation like that, whether it's a male or a female, you're more likely to cheat. You cheating. A man gonna cheat with the woman and get his joint hard. A woman gonna cheat with the guy who get her for JJ dancing. You know, so you gotta have that. You gotta have a balance. You gotta have a balance. You gotta say, okay, she look good, but can I talk to her? And, you know, using that mythical scale, and you know, I don't really like using it, but I use it because people can relate to it. You know, you might not be able to get that 8 or 9, well, the 9 that you met might not have been good for you. Damn, dude, you really gotta go where you gotta go. Anyway. You know, that 9 might not be good for you, but then that 7, you can talk to them. That 7's still attractive. You know, because I would recommend to any man or woman, to some of the women who listen to this too, you gotta have that balance there. Yeah, there's a range, and look, don't if somebody ain't turning you on physically, don't mess with them. Don't even deal with, no matter how much you get along with them, anything. If they ain't getting your shit hard, because it's going to be a problem later on, one way or the other. So y'all might as well just remain friends. Indeed, I've talked about that friend zone thing, men putting women in the friend zone a lot. It's easy to put a woman in the friend zone if you're just not physically attracted to her. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. She can help you out if y'all both cool with where y'all at. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. But, you know, you might have to dip down just a little bit. Like, have a range. Like if your range is like a basement, have a basement. As Master Teacher BGS would say, have a basement. Have a basement you can go. But don't go beyond that. Because, yeah, you might want that 9, but, you know, honestly, that 6, if that's your basement, might get along with you. Now, if your basement 8, yeah, you might have some trouble finding that woman that click with you, too. Indeed, that's a whole other conversation. There's a lot of guys, they having trouble because they just got a high level. And they think it's all right. But you got to have that physical basement, but also mental. What you going to put up with? You know? Like a woman I would have to deal with, and women I've dealt with, they got to be good with who I am and what I do. And we got to have a conversation. You know? Like, we got to be able to talk for a couple hours without me thinking about it. And shoot, you whatever your like thing is, whatever you got to talk about or whatever. Now, the only exceptions to that, if you some rich guy who just wants something pretty on your arms and you ain't gonna spend that much time with her anyway, that might be different. But let's just be real. The vast majority of us, you gonna spend some time with that woman. You still gotta talk with her. Even after you have sex, what y'all gonna do? Y'all can have sex, get down, you know, be floating, have us see the great pumpkin. And if y'all don't know what a great pumpkin is, that's just a joke for just God, okay? That's just a joke, okay? So, because I had somebody hit me up about the great pumpkin. It's like, come on, man. Come on. It's comedy. Anyway, right? Yeah, what you gonna do afterwards? You gotta be able to talk afterwards, right? You know, it's funny, I had this woman, and she was just a sex partner. But the groove was so good that I was like, well, how was your day today? We actually talked. I was like, dang. We actually sat there and talked for an hour. That was a good ass groove. Yeah, I ever have a good groove. There's just that groove that's so good. If you had put 2 in the comments, but you still gotta have that. And let me be clear on that. Like a real relationship, not like some guys might get that woman, or some women might get that man they not really attracted to, but they jump off. They friends with benefits or something. You know, you can't even count that as a real relationship. You don't want that. I'm talking about a real relationship. You got to have that balance of attraction, no matter what. You got to be able to like looking at them, and you got to be able to have that conversation. You got to be able to click personality-wise. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. Because if you really look at any relationship that break up, you can break, if you have a serious conversation with them, okay, you need to come across in my eye. If you have a serious conversation with them, I don't care what the relationship is, you can find one or the other is like missing. You know, either the person is no longer physically attracted to the person, or they can't really get along. I'm gonna hit y'all with something deeper too. You get some relationships that get together, and all it was a physical attraction. But then, you know, they eventually break up and say, well, we eventually grew apart. They weren't clicking to begin with. They weren't a good relationship to begin with. Because let's be real, a lot of times, especially now, people getting together based on some superficial shit. Like what their credit score is, how much money they bringing in, you know? Even that physical attraction thing, yeah, they look good, they wear some nice clothes and all of that, but they don't click personality wise. But they still try to make something go. Might even get married, but then they just drift apart. They weren't compatible to begin with. Because if you look at the intangible part, it really just comes down to compatibility. That's all it is. That's the power. That's the power right there. It's like, are the personalities compatible with each other? Are they compatible? Can they click no matter what their personality is? Indeed, sometimes that's why you see some couples and in your mind they don't match. Like you might see like some very beautiful woman, like some model type, and she with some big old dude, big hominy dude. You'd be like, how's that possible? They probably click. And then part of that compatibility is even finding that person attractive. She probably finds them attractive and they click personality wise. That gets into a real deeper level and everything. So the personalities have to click, and indeed sometimes when you think they should click, like they might be, you get two people, they got a physical attraction, even look like they should be together, but their personalities are butting heads and everything. It ain't working. Now, if you get a situation where it's both, you personally, you just click. As soon as you talk, you click. And then you like how each other look. Boom. Now that's the joint. And that's a little bit harder these days because everybody else got all this other superficial shit. It's not even looks. Like, that's why I'm like against talking about money and all of that, or credit score, or you get some of these women up here talking about they want, some guy making six figures. My thing is this: one, why are they going to be physically attracted to that guy making six figures? Two, are their personalities going to click? Because if neither one of them is happening, that relationship ain't gonna work anyway, no matter how much money he got. And I know some of these women don't be talking about it. Some of these women don't be talking about it. Yeah, we as men, we got our shit. Be looking at just that big old booty or something, big round booty. But you got a lot of women who want that like superficial shit. Money is superficial. They need to click with that personality. And they need to at least like how you look. And the guy they might get with might not be making six figures, but fits them to the point where they move up. And see, that's another thing too. When you get two people who truly clicking, they clicking physically, they like how each other look, and they clicking personality wise, their personalities, emotionally, intangibles click. Oh, that's a powerful couple right there. They can go up to six figures working together. They can live their life because they clicking. But like I said earlier, if you look at any relationship that fell, one or the other is there. One or the other is there if it started first. Because you get some people, like some people even will try, they might even click like with intangibles and stuff, personality, and they'll try to force something. It's like, nah, you can't be forcing anything. You cannot be forcing anything. That's the worst thing to do. You can't be forcing anything. And you gotta think about that. Like, mostly men watching this, but I found out some ladies be checking this out too. Ask yourself that when you meet somebody, okay, do you like how they look? Or at least they ain't going past your basement. Like, have a range. I would say don't be stupid and have be strict. Like, they gotta be like 9s or 10s or something like that. You'll be a lonely ass motherfucker out here. Seriously, there ain't enough of them to go around. You can probably put them all on. You can probably put all of them in the world who consensusly, because you know how I feel about that word objective, but consensusly look at that. You can put that and probably put them all on the planet in a good sized football stadium and still have room. Ain't enough of them to go around, so you gotta have a range. All right, so make sure they within your range physically, but then can you have that conversation with? Can you talk with them and stuff? Right? Can you like sit back and talk with them? You know? Yeah, I just saw a sign, but that gets into some deep stuff. I ain't gonna say what he was. Anyway, right? You know, seriously. Can you like what they look like? Can you have a 2-hour conversation? Do you have to force a conversation? You two just click. And if I gotta explain what clicking is, well, you know what? Sometimes I get some dudes, some people on here. I gotta explain what clicking means. Clicking just means y'all can just sit and talk. You know, y'all can just talk. You know, ain't a big deal. It's like you ain't forcing it. Like if you ever have a conversation, like out with somebody on a date, and you gotta force a conversation, y'all don't click. Y'all don't click. Two people who click, they is all they had to do. You just put them anywhere. They can talk about anything. If you ain't at that level, whatever. Okay. Anyway, I want y'all to think about that. Seriously, it ain't more complicated than that. Seriously, it's not more complicated than that. Seriously, it really isn't. You know, y'all gotta like how each other look. Get along personality-wise, they gotta be a balance. Like I said earlier, you know, you might want that 9 as far as how they look, but, you know, they might be a 7 or something. Hey, girl. Okay. I know when you come here. Anyway. Right? Okay. Like I saw a very attractive woman, had that body and everything. Okay, cool. But I would have to talk to her to see what's up with her, right? You know? She's on, you know, so men or women, you gotta have that range of people. You gotta be realistic out here. So you gotta have a basement, but don't go past your basement. You know? Don't go past your basement. And then have your personality. You gotta click with them personality wise. You gotta ask yourself, can I have a conversation with them? You know? And part of clicking is for the men, are they gonna be in cooperation with your operation? And you know what? For the women too. For the women too, because we got to be realistic out here. A lot of women doing some stuff too. Is that guy going to be supportive? And really, are y'all going to be supportive of each other? Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, are y'all going to be supportive of each other? Because if y'all ain't clicking looks wise, don't try to force it. Some people try to force it, or don't try to force it if the personality ain't there just because they look fine to you or something like that. Nah. Just don't do that stuff. Anyway, right? So I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to really think about that. Like, you gotta have that balance. If you don't have that balance, there's gonna be problems. And if you have one but not the other, there's gonna be problems. You gotta have both. So you gotta like how they look, and they need to like how you look. So that's the same thing too. That's the same thing too. If they don't like how you look, you know, you done with that woman, she still don't think you can still. She got to deal with it. Because even when women deal with an ugly man, a man who they might call ugly, there's some women who like that. So you got to have that. But then also the personality and everything. So you got to have all of those things. So anyway, right? That's all I got for the weekend. For now, you know, I ain't going to do anything for the weekend, rather. So anyway, y'all have a good weekend. You know, check out my Sovereign Man sovereign people, sovereign person videos tomorrow. Because I got some women checking them out. Mainly sovereign men, though. And then my inspirational stuff on Sunday, all right? And I get back to y'all Monday with the car video, all right? Anyway, I talk to y'all. Peace and blessings.